be a little tricky when you read it. So we have governmental rights under our federal government, and it's embodied in our Constitution. But where we live here in Florida, so under the 10th Amendment, we have a Florida Constitution. And as my paralegal students will know, any rules and regulations that you have in your state constitution cannot conflict with the rules and regulations in this. Because what? This is what we call the law of the land. This is the law of the land. Now, a good example of, I like to use the Gore and Bush election. Remember we had all the hanging chads and everything? That was an excellent example if you would ever want to read about state rights, rights of the federal government, federalism. We had an election. Gore challenged the election. He went up to the Florida Supreme Court and won. However, President Bush's team took it to the federal court. Some say it shouldn't have went that far, that it just should have stopped here in Florida, but that's how it happened. And then that's how we have conflict. So you can have a rule of law at the federal level. For example, I'll go back to abortion rights. That's something that's prevalent in the community. You have rules about abortion, but then when you get in the state, states may start making rules about how it gets paid for. Maybe they'll say, yeah, you have abortion rights, but you can't use any state funds to pay for it. Or they might say, if you have someone underage, we may give that child a judicial pass where she can go before a judge and have an abortion without your permission. Those type rules exist. However, then when there's a problem with the child, if the child gets sick or something, guess who has to take care of the child?
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad, who you told they could not be involved on that level. So always remember, this is what?
The law of the land.
This is the law of the land. Can the state have rules that are not embodied in here? Yep.
Oh, they can have
They
extra
can, but they
ones.
can't conflict with this.
conflict with those.
All right. Now let's see what we can do here. What's the First Amendment?
It's freedom of speech, freedom
And
of
the Second
religion,
Amendment?
right to bear arms.
And that Third Amendment that we say we don't really use quartering
Is the
soldiers?
quartering soldiers.
And the big one, that Fourth Amendment?
Search and seizure.
What's the fifth and sixth, seventh, eighth? What's all that about? Criminal. That's how you remember that. Fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth, criminal. Now, oh, you know what? I skipped over. Jody, let me skip over the Ninth Amendment. The Ninth Amendment is what we call a catch-all amendment that catches things that maybe we don't have in the other amendments. But all of them together, we call those what type rights?
Bill of Rights.
And who are they for?
People.
And we are what? Individuals. So these are our individual rights. And I believe that's the most important part of the Constitution. And I remember, I kept saying, I don't know why we the people keeps ringing in my ear, keeps ringing in my ear. So maybe this is why. And this is before I knew this was coming up and I had to do that. So that's why the little poster we have, it has that we the people on there, and it's a nice notion. So I've been very excited about this. If I'm here next year, Lord willing, and I'm doing this next year, if I come, it's going to be a week-long activity, and it's going to be off the chain. Okay? All right, thank you. And now, these are my two new professors in my department, legal assistant, Dr. Jessica Brown, and also Dr. Ingrid Bethel, alumni of Florida Coastal School of Law. I was a little ahead of them. Jessica and I were together. And when I met, I couldn't put the name with the face, but when she got over to West, I said, oh, great, I know who you are. So they helped me with this. My daughter slaved all week. She's glad that it's over with. Jerry, I know Jerry in the back. She's glad it's over with. I drug my other students here. But boy, I have a great time. Now you're going to hear from them, okay? Enjoy yourself.
Okay. Dr. Parsons gave a very nice overview, didn't she, of the Bill of Rights. Who can tell me in one sentence what the Bill of Rights is?
Individual rights.
Individual rights. Excellent. Okay. Now, what we're going to be doing, since, as you guys know, the Constitution, there's a lot of material, we're just going to go ahead and narrow in the discussion specifically to the First Amendment, okay? Now, the First Amendment, it should be in your Constitution that you have there, specifically says that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and petition for redress of grievances. What are the fundamental rights specifically protected under the First Amendment?
Speech, religion, press.
Okay, exactly. Freedom of press, freedom of speech, right to assemble, petition the government for redress of grievances, freedom of association, right? Now, when we're talking about fundamental rights, what exactly are we referring to?
I know there's a circle of scrutiny around the 13, isn't it 13 fundamental rights?
Yes, and we're
That
going
each individual has, that no law is allowed to, I guess, impress their opinion on.
right, and we're going to touch upon that more specifically a little later on as we get more into the discussion of freedom of press, okay? But no one answered the question, what exactly are fundamental rights? They're just basically rights protected under the Constitution, right?